You're watching Any Given Thursday by Chat Sports live once again for you guys. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. NBA-driven show today. Lots of news, rumors, buyout updates to get to before the All-Star break. A few games tonight, Chase, and then about a week off in the NBA. Of course, the All-Star game festivities this weekend. You still an All-Star game guy, or have you checked out of that stuff?
Not really. Somewhat excited for the dunk contest. I want to see Juan Toscano-Anderson of the Golden State Warriors throw some hammers down. The three-point contest, I think, is the best event now of NBA All-Star Weekend. When it comes to the game, it's not appointment viewing for me like it was once.
They honestly, by the way, shout out to the GOAT, Michael Jordan, type 23, in the chat to wish him a happy birthday. I feel like the dunk contest should just be Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon every year, and who cares about the rest?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Or just get like these young dudes
Green
that are bouncy.
Is bouncy as hell.
Yeah. Is he hurt still? No, he's playing. Oh, he's back? He's in the dunk contest. Wait, really? Okay, I might tune in for that. All right, that's interesting. Type 23 in the live chat to wish Michael Jordan a happy birthday. LeBron dynamic scorer. Yeah, I'd say he's pretty dynamic. He's got... Yeah, not seeing a lot of 23s in the chat. Come on. Yeah, Tom Downey Burner in the chat. We got L2 Cloud saying DeMar for MVP. You know what? He deserves more love. The stretch DeMar DeRozan has been on, 7 straight games of 35 points per game on average or more, with 50+% from the field. It's never happened in 7 straight games. He broke a record set by Wilt Chamberlain, who was basically just dunking every time he shot. So he's electric. Yeah, this 23, just no one even cares.
We had Nick Dureka, L2 Clouds,
said 23.
Yao Ferreira, Tom Downey's burner account. They were in the chat. Thaddeus Young.
Tom Downey says he wants to see a chat for funk contest.
What's a funk contest? I don't even know what that means. Let us know what that means. Shout out your city. Where are the true hoopers watching from? Did you mean dunk contest? Yes, that's what he meant. We're in Dallas, Texas. Jeremy's throwing me off here, per usual.
Evan Hinders, I should be in the dunk contest. Homie, I can shoot it, I can't jump.
No.
Classic white man.
Trampoline basketball? Yes. But I can't dunk on a 10-foot hoop, unfortunately.
Nick saying net spacing looking good with Seth Curry and Andre Drummond.
Yeah, Seth had
good win last night.
In his
coming
first
back
game.
From 28. He was also good in his debut, too.
Yeah, Marshall Green's still mentally recovering from that loss as our resident Knicks fan here at Chat Sports. Where are you guys watching from? Come on. Nowhere? Y'all aren't anywhere? This is quite a lively chat we got going on here today. HT says happy birthday to the GOAT. Yo, Harrison Graham, bear down. Put down a Bears video a couple hours ago if you want to check that out. Let's see. We got Canada in the house from Thaddeus Young.
Hey,
who's he playing with currently? He got
Thad
traded
Young.
again.
He got traded.
Raptors,
yes. That's right.
Yeah, he is in Canada. Good call. Chi-Town from the Lemure. Is Tristan Thompson going to Chicago? According to Rick Carlisle, so take that for what it's worth.
Rick Carlisle, newsbreaker, just like Woj.
Yes, basically the same. San Bernardino Cali from Amir. Who else in the three-point contest? I know my boy Desmond Bain is, but honestly don't know anyone else in it.
Honestly, I just passed on the NBA All-Star weekend.
Taking a break this weekend?
Yeah.
Skills competition. San Antonio from Arthur. We got hello from Russia from Vitally. Timbuktu Mally from John. All right, let's get to this question. The best team in the East is, as Jeremy, you might as well just mic up with how much you're throwing us off here. Who's the best team in the Eastern Conference? How about Dallas beating Miami on the road the other night? That was a nice win.
Yeah. Nice dub without Luka playing that well.
We're really bringing it today, aren't we?
I'm just ready to start the show. Can't wait to talk about these buyout candidates.
Yeah, who's the best team in the East right now?
I'm going to go Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's the best team in the East. The standings don't really clarify that. Chicago Bulls atop the East, followed by the Miami Heat. But really, the East is wide open. Like, would it surprise you at this point if the Boston Celtics represent the East in the NBA Finals with the way that they've been playing, having won 9 of their last 10 games? They lost last night against the Detroit Pistons, but, you know, that's just one of those down games after a 9-game torrid winning streak. So the East, who the hell knows who's coming out of it?
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate wild card is Brooklyn and Philadelphia post-trade. Let's see what happens there. But
see what the beard can do in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we'll see if Ben Simmons gets going in Brooklyn. Who's the best team in the West? Couple shout-outs, by the way. Chicago, Bucks, Bulls coming in. Bucks from Amir, Bulls from Anthony. Couple more Bulls as well. Best team in the West, producer Jeremy Chuggs, who's with us today, put money on the Rockets to make the playoffs. Have they taken that money out of your account yet? Because that they pretty much have already been eliminated.
You know, it's with our amazing sportsbook sponsor, BetUS. And not yet, but I have not yet gotten clarification on the play-in status. Like, if you make the play-in, does that mean you make the playoffs? Or like you have to win the play-in to
Technically
get.
not. Yes, you have to win the play-in in order to get into the playoffs in that 7 and 8 spot. Getting into the play-in tournament is not technically making it into the
from a gambling
playoffs.
Perspective, I don't think you're going to get the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
It's like a just the tip situation.
Exactly. Just the tip. Nick says Nuggets. Oh my God. Amir says Suns or Warriors. How can you be a fan of the Suns or the Warriors? Come on.
Top 2 teams in the West.
Yeah,
I think they're going to meet in the Western Conference Finals, although Golden State's struggling of late, too.
Dude,
we'll talk about the Warriors later.
I'll be honest. I don't know if the Suns are getting beat.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm with you.
They've won 20 out of 22.
Hopefully Chris Paul's thumb is okay.
Yeah.
I just said Mavs, and he gave me
76ers all day in the East. We got a Warriors in the West, Grizzlies in the West. By the way, Ja Morant and Desmond Bane had 74 combined points last night.
They're really good.
They lost, but
the 2 young guns in Memphis are great. And Ja Morant, coming back off missing the last game, didn't miss in the first quarter either. He's great.
Pretty incredible. All right, let's get this thing going. Might as well, right? Here's what's coming up on NBA Now, the updated NBA buyout candidates now that Goran Dragic has been bought out. Live Q&A. We'll answer your questions later on. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Let's just get that piece to 8, Jeremy. And then the latest NBA news and rumors, including a lot of buzz around several teams. All that and more is coming up here on Any Given Thursday by Chat Sports. He's Chase Sr. I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into the show. Let's get you guys caught up on the latest around the NBA, especially here on the buyout market, because there's a lot of players that could still be on the move. Let's get into our updated NBA buyout candidates, Chase. Goran Dragic has been bought out by the Spurs, so he is free to sign elsewhere. We'll see if and when he does sign. A lot of other names to keep in mind here as well.
A lot of suitors for Dragic, who is an all-star with a bunch of playoff experience. I really think he's going to help move the needle for a playoff team out there, depending on where he does sign. John Wall could get bought out, but for him, making a lot of money this year, so does he agree to that buyout? Dennis Schroeder with the Houston Rockets after getting traded there in exchange for Daniel Tice from the Boston Celtics could also be a guard who can start or come in off the bench. I really like Gary Harris. Same can't be said for DJ Augustin, but Gary Harris is a really, really good player, and I think as a 3-level scorer coming in off the bench would really give you good depth if he's bought out, if he signs with another team.
Woj's team's in the mix. Is this for Dragic, as we said as of now? Brooklyn, Chicago, Golden State, also the Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks. Now, people are like, hey, Dragic was at the Heat-Mavs game the other night. He played with the Heat forever. He's wanted to play with Luka Doncic. You never know. Maybe those teams are some dark horse possibilities. I do think he's for sure going to latch on with a contender, Chase, as we progress toward that March 1st deadline.
Yeah, and with some of those teams, Portland Trail Blazers, you know, they trade away Norman Powell. He goes to the Clippers, but now he's out with that broken foot, so they're in need of a guard. I think that Dragic on the Lakers could really help them them offensively, although Russell Westbrook last couple of games has been playing very well. Golden State, he gives you really good depth. Lonzo Ball still out. Alex Caruso turning the corner with his injury, but Dragic there seems like a solid fit as well. I think the New York Knicks should be in play for Dragic's services because they desperately need a point guard and somebody to just calm down the offense late in games.
Just don't think he's going to sign with a non-contender, and the Knicks are not contending this year. John Wall doesn't sound like there's a lot of momentum for him to agree to a buyout. Of course, he's making over $40 million, has another year on his contract worth $47 million, so we'll monitor that and see if something changes there, but I don't anticipate him agreeing to a buyout. Maybe something happens this offseason via trade or a buyout there, but I think he's just going to hang out this year.
It was great to see him come back off of a couple of injury-plagued seasons last year and play well with the Houston Rockets. Hasn't played a game at all this year after last campaign, averaging 20.5 points per game. Gives you a lot of the same athletic traits as a Russell Westbrook, sometimes breathtaking in the open floor. Not the most efficient offensive player, but a guy who can really push the tempo, push the pace, and really play make for you. I want to see good players on the floor, and John Wall's a good player. We haven't seen him on the floor this year, though.
Who is the best buyout guard that is out there? I think if John Wall became available, he's the answer. Dragic for sure currently. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let us know what you guys think on this one, the best NBA buyout guard on the market. Now, we got some of the best hoodies available on sale for you guys at chatsports.com/NBA hoodie. Hoodies for all 30 NBA teams, a lot of them on sale as well. Go check them out, chatsports.com/NBA hoodie, whatever your favorite team is. Some of these player team combos, too. The Ja Morant with the Grizz logo on the front, that's a clean one as well. Different style jackets. I love this Hornets
30K
look
Oubre
as well. 30K Oubre. Could be 40K soon. Who knows? Chatsports.com/NBA hoodie. Go check them out. Whatever your favorite team is, they'll have something for you. Link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Let's go to the wing spot, Chase. A few names to keep in mind here.
I think this is the weakest position group of the NBA buyout candidates. I frankly don't like any of these players. At one point, I was a fan of Jeremy Lamb, but this year he's been awful, as evidenced by the numbers we're about to show you. Rodney Hood just doesn't really do much for me. Kevin Knox, a bona fide first-round bust, got traded to the Atlanta Hawks in that trade for Cam Reddish. Neither of those players are playing. Thomas Satoransky gives you a little bit of size at that wing spot. Kent Bazemore, I think his best days are behind him as well. Now, Jeremy Lamb certainly has pedigree. He's been in the league for a long while. He's had a couple of good moments, a couple of good years, but this year hasn't really played all that well. 7 points per game, 2.5 boards, 37% from the field and sub 34% from distance. You take a look at a player like him, you compare him with the Kevin Knox. Do you take an opportunity and a chance and a swing at Kevin Knox, who's the younger player, but hasn't been able to show anything? I think Tom Thibodeau not playing him early in his NBA career has really impacted his confidence.
It's weird. Knox, his first year and a half,
wasn't bad.
Looked like a guy who would be a solid rotation player, but once Thibs got in there, he was not a Thibs guy. Has not been the same. Jeremy Lamb, like you mentioned, is certainly a guy who's had a couple of good years, has been a floor spacer, but you've kind of seen that a lot this year in the NBA. Guys just having down shooting years due to the new rules. Some say the new basketball. I don't know how much I buy into that at this point in the season, but I tend to agree. I think this position group is definitely among the weaker ones when you look at some of these buyout candidates. Will Kevin Knox ever work out? Will he ever turn into something? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I hope he's at least hitting the gym, right, producer Jeremy? At least work out once or twice a week. I hope he's doing that. Y for yes, N for no. Will he ever turn into something? I hope we're working out at Chat Sports. I think we're doing pretty well. We're closing in on 280,000 subscribers. We're actually less than 200 away. Hey, maybe we can get there on this video. Hit that sub button. Spread the word. Let's get to 280,000 subscribers. If you want more NBA coverage, we are the channel for you here on YouTube. We'll keep it moving here on today's buyout candidates video. Let's look at some of the bigs here. A hot name right now, Chase, is Robin Lopez.
Yeah.
I think he'll have some suitors.
No, and of the position groups here, we talked about the wings being the weakest, Harrison. I think the NBA buyout bigs, the strongest of these position groups. Yeah, you can say that Goran Dragic, John Wall are very good guards, but the depth here and the players that you can get For teams who are front court needy, I think these guys are very good options. Robin Lopez, Juan Hernan Gomez, Paul Millsap, we'll see if he hangs on with Philadelphia. Didn't play poorly in his debut in that blowout loss against the Boston Celtics. DeAndre Jordan, I just don't think he can really give you much as a center who can't do anything except hang around and hover around the basket. DeMarcus Cousins in spurts on some nights can be a pretty solid playmaker. You look at what Robin Lopez has been able to do this year, I think he's the top big who could be made available by far, averaging almost 8 points per game, high-level defense, solid rebounder, decent rim protector, shooting around 57% from the floor. He is a career around 70% free throw shooter. That number sub 60 this year. But for a playoff team, if you're able to bring in Robin Lopez as your backup big, I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors of the world, and he can be a backup to Kevon Looney and James Wiseman. If Wiseman continues to struggle getting back onto the court, Robin Lopez could be a very, very nice player there.
I think even a team like Dallas, who needs some rim
Dallas,
protection.
Philadelphia behind Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis. I think he could certainly help there. So I think he's a guy that's going to be able to pick from a variety of teams, assuming he does get bought out. Some other players, maybe some lesser names, but still some guys that are out there. Of course, Derek Favors, Enes Kanter Freedom, of course, who got traded by Boston, then bought out by Houston. He's available. Gorgie Dieng, Moses Brown, who got waived by the Mavericks. Drew Eubanks is out there. Little lesser name here, but a guy like Derek Favors, Chase, he's not having the year this year, but he's had years in his career where he's averaged basically double-doubles. I think he could definitely be a backup big. And I think a team like Utah, who's very familiar with him, would certainly be interested in bringing him on board.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, he's playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder now, but at 30 years old, it's pretty crazy to think that this guy was drafted number 3 overall back in 2010 and never really lived up to those lofty expectations from when he was drafted out of Georgia Tech. A lot of people expected him to be one of the best bigs in the NBA. Instead of that, he's been steady, he's been consistent, he's been somewhat serviceable. There's a youth movement in OKC, and that's why his numbers are down. Still getting around 17 minutes per game, 5 points per 5 rebounds, shooting around 52% from the floor. He's not going to stretch his game out to the three-point arc, but if you want a rebounder, if you want an energetic presence, if you want a veteran who a lot of people respect and a pretty solid defender, Derek Favors can bring that to the floor.
So who is the buyout big that's the most talented? Who do you like the most? Let us know. I think it's Lopez because he's an instant credible defender.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, 15 minutes off the bench for a contender, I think, similar to like a JaVale McGee in Phoenix, right? Like, just score around the rim and play defense. Like, that's all you really need out of him. Let us know who is the best big on the buyout market. Some shout-outs here, and then we'll jump into some team stuff here in a second. Boogie to Philly. Would you like that?
I don't know if he gives you enough athletically.
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia likes to have its bigs on the move, and there's going to be a step down from Joel Embiid to whoever his backup is. I just think that step down a lot more with the guy like DeMarcus Cousins. I actually don't hate Moses Brown going to Philadelphia because of the athleticism and the energy he gives you as a rebounder and a guy around the rim who can hang out.
Good roll man as well.
Yeah, good roll man.
Boogie back to the Lakers. Anthony Bennett. Best of luck to Anthony Bennett, whatever he's up to. Tom Downey's burner. Remember when the Lakers were favored to win the title? Pepperidge Farms remembers. That's a good one, yeah. They're in trouble. By the way, hashtag NBA for a mailbag later on in our live show. We'll answer your questions for about 7.5 minutes. The real ones know. So we will do that. Appreciate the super chat. If you want to get your questions in, use hashtag NBA or super chat. We'll answer them just a little bit later on in the show. All right, we'll keep this thing moving here. We're going to get you guys caught up on the latest around the 76ers, kind of cycle through some teams here as the NBA All-Star break is upon us, so stay tuned for that. We'll get to some Lakers, Warriors, Mavs stuff later on, but let's talk about the Sixers here coming up on Any Given Thursday. I'm Harrison Graham. He is Chase Sr. watching Any Given Thursday by Chat Sports. Let's get into the latest on the Philadelphia 76ers. Still no James Harden, Chase. He's not going to play until after the All-Star break, but always stuff to talk about up in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no doubt. And Philadelphia Inquirer's own Keith Pompey saying that since he was traded to Philadelphia, James Harden has been a, quote, model citizen. He insisted on joining the Sixers on their road trip to Milwaukee. He was seen at shoot-around prior to that game tonight. But really, the big focus of the conversation on today's version of Philadelphia 76ers now is the fact that Daryl Morey was on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast with Spike Eskin as well as Mike Levin, and he had a pretty interesting tidbit and hinted at a future roster move looming via the buyout market. As we know, Philadelphia really needs a backup center behind Joel Embiid and maybe a scorer to come in off that second unit to help spell what you miss when the starters go out of the game. Here's what Morey had to say on that roster addition. Of course, he's feeling good about himself because he played his cards right by trading away Ben Simmons for James Harden, waiting until the last minute to do so, getting that leverage on Sean Marks. But on the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, he said this is the team right now. I think we'll have one buyout. I think we're pretty close. I'm actually annoyed we can't announce that next corresponding move yet. Buyout imminent. And as he always does, he's very, very lively with the media. He said, there is your headline right there, buyout imminent. So later on today's show, we're going to take a look at some of the top NBA buyout candidates for the Philadelphia 76ers, but they need a backup big. Morey was asked really in the pecking order of the needs on this team, what do you need the most? He did talk about Joel Embiid's second team center because Andre Drummond was sent to the Brooklyn Nets in that trade for Ben Simmons, and he also alluded, or for James Harden, but he also alluded to what's kind of out there as well. Kind of weak at the wing spot for some of those available buyout candidates, and they don't really need a point guard now that they have Tyrese Maxey in addition to James Harden, Shake Milton, and Furkan Korkmaz can run a little bit of the point as well. But over the next couple of days as we enter All-Star Weekend, looks as though Philadelphia is going to have a roster addition coming to Philadelphia in the next coming days. So speaking of those buyout candidates, which buyout candidate do you like the most for Philadelphia? Robin Lopez, DeMarcus Cousins, maybe a Moses Brown. Drop us a name or names in the comments section, and we appreciate you for supporting Philadelphia 76ers now.
Yeah, I think those are all some interesting names. Robin Lopez I would like quite a bit. I think he's similar enough to an Andre Drummond, who you lost in that trade to Brooklyn. You look at the front court right now for Philadelphia, Chase. It's an elite player and two non-elite players, to say the least. Obviously, Joel Embiid, as long as he's healthy, you're in good shape there. But you need a guy that can eat some minutes off the bench, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. And B-Ball Paul, he's been tearing it up in the G League with the Delaware Bluecoats, and I love the energy that he brings to the floor, but I want him as maybe the third center option because if you get in the thick of a playoff series, we've seen Greg Monroe back up Joel Embiid before. We've seen some of these other lackluster centers, and you get picked apart whenever Embiid leaves the floor, not just offensively, but defensively as well. So while I like the energy that B-Ball Paul brings to the table, I'd like him to be more slotted into that third center role and get some DNPs here and there. As for Charles Bassey, up and down between the Sixers roster and the G League, I think he has some potential coming out of Western Kentucky, but the point here being you need a legitimate and viable backup center in a playoff series behind Joel Embiid, especially Harrison, considering his injury history.
Yeah, and we'll break down some of the buyout candidates that are out there. What's your favorite candy? Let us know in the comments. Jeremy cooking up this question for you guys. Favorite candy? Well, Trizzy Trace has been bringing some goodies into the office recently. I'm kind of a basic
How about
guy.
the Sugar Cookie Hershey's Kiss? That was pretty solid that he brought in.
I'm kind of weird when it comes to candy. I like just give me milk chocolate.
Yeah.
Don't need fancy stuff. Don't need crunch and all this and that. Just give me some milk chocolate.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, Reese's Peanut Butter is great. Honestly, I kind of like the Reese's Pieces, instead of the cups a little bit
Oh,
better.
if you want me to make the Jack Moan voice, give me a Reese's Take 5.
Reese's Take 5. You got a little mix of everything in there. A little crunch, a little peanut butter, a little chocolate.
We got Snickers in the chat from Gutrot.
Tom Downey's burner account saying my wife.
Ooh, there you go.
Eye candy
Cotton
for Tom
candy.
downey burner account wife.
More evidence that it is actually Tom running that account.
Yes.
Let's see. Runts from JP. Kit Kat, we got Boogie Cousins to the Warriors with no green. Draymond's going to be coming back. He'll be coming back at some point, right? He's coming back.
Yeah. The expectation is that sometime after the All-Star break, he's going to ramp up those activities. But anytime you're dealing with a back injury with the big, that can get somewhat concerning.
Definitely a little scary. All right, let's get into the latest on the Golden State Warriors. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you here on Any Given Thursday by Chat Sports. Let's get you caught up on the latest on the Warriors, including that on James Wiseman. Chase, I know you've been all over this story and his kind of rehab here. Are we getting closer to a return here? Let's talk about Mr. Wiseman a little bit.
Getting closer to James Wiseman returning to the floor. Has not played since April when he went down with that torn meniscus in his right knee. So you pair that with the fact that the Warriors absolutely love this kid. And really, the moves that they've made as an organization backs all of that up. So, according to NBC Sports Bay Area, the Warriors never really entertained the thought of trading away James Wiseman. He's been floated around as a trade candidate because if you include him in a trade package, he could get a lot back.
Yep.
Now, what the Warriors did was they fully invested in developing him before and after the injury because obviously, they're high on the prospect who's still in his early 20s. That's why they drafted him at number 2 overall out of Memphis ahead of LaMelo Ball. So they changed the player development staff to cater to James Wiseman, and they actually hired Dejan Milijevic, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, from Europe, and he moved to the Bay Area all the way from Europe, and the main goal in that hire was to make Wiseman a star. So really, he has been appointed as the player development coach for James Wiseman. Here's what NBC Sports Bay Area had to say about that kind of organizational transaction. He's best known in American circles as the coach most responsible for the development of the Joker in Denver, the reigning NBA MVP and the most comprehensively skilled offensive center in the league. It was that background that attracted the Golden State Warriors. They paid a handsome price to lure him away from a head coaching job in Serbia, where he had 2 years remaining on his contract, to be an assistant in California. This is all pretty telling in my opinion, and if you've seen video of James Wiseman going through some of his rehab on the court, going up against a guy who's about 7 foot, 260 pounds, it's him. And this is what good organizations do, Harrison. This is how good organizations operate. They want the best out of their employees. They want the best out of their athletes, and they're willing to exhaust all of their resources to extract the talent out of that player. And that's simply what the Golden State Warriors are doing with James Wiseman. So really, this is telling on a bunch of fronts. Didn't want to trade away James Wiseman. They're still high on him. They've invested in his player development, and they still think in the long term, maybe even this year, he can be a high-level impact player for this team.
I think the Warriors had done a good job of staying in title contention mode while not compromising their future.
Yep, I agree.
And they're
Kuminga, Moody.
They weren't going to punt on Wiseman after 1 year just because of an early injury. I like that. Now, if we're sitting at the next All-Star break or trade deadline next year and he's had more injury concerns and you can get him for a win-now piece, maybe that changes. But I think they've seen enough from him last year to see how he plays when he comes back, see how he is next year, and then, maybe things change down the road. But I do like that they are committed to him. Can James Wiseman be a top 10 big in this league? That is our question for you. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let us know what you guys think on this one. Maybe a little rich for top 10?
Yeah, I think the hope is that James Wiseman is a top 10 big, but if he's not, that's still okay because you surround him with a bunch of really good shooters like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and a bunch of other high-level playmakers like Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and some of the other pieces on this roster. Speaking of the other young pieces on this roster, Dub Nation, we know you love Juan Toscano Anderson. NBA All-Star Weekend coming your way from Cleveland this weekend. Familiar face going to be competing in the dunk contest. So I want you to get into the comment section right now. Spam JTA to wish JTA, Juan Toscano Anderson, good luck in the dunk contest. He said the other day, that's all I've been thinking about over the last 24 hours. So do that right now. And if you're watching, hey, we're going to break down these NBA buyout candidates.
All right, so we'll jump into our next team. Ooh, Jeremy's cooking them up here. What's the most elite pizza topping? So, interesting take here from me. There's toppings I like more than pepperoni, but in addition to pepperoni, I think I like really good Italian sausage better than pepperoni, but pepperoni also has to be on that pizza. Like if it's just Italian sausage, I don't like it as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So I'll go pepperoni as the most elite pizza topping. The most slept on pizza topping, in my opinion, it's pineapple. I love pineapple on some pizza, and you pair pineapple and the sweetness of it with a little sriracha, maybe a little bit of hot sauce, and maybe the spiciness of the pepperoni. I think that's an elite combo.
I love red
Jeremy,
pepper
you're the
flake.
food connoisseur. Would you agree, or do you think that pineapple does not belong on pizza?
I think pineapple does belong on pizza. I think it needs a meat to go with it. Also, back to your point about the pepperoni, when you go to a place, Harrison brought it out. I actually hadn't gone there until Harrison mentioned it. Zalat, not all pepperonis are created equal. That pepperoni is so much better.
There is different levels of pepperoni. I will agree with that. By the way, this isn't a topping, and we'll get some shout-outs in a
Banana
second.
peppers and sauerkraut. Okay.
Wow. Not a topping,
Patterson.
but Alfredo sauce instead of tomato, elite alternative.
Okay.
Elite
Get a little white
alternative.
pizza on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do love some Alfredo sauce. Bacon. I like chicken sometimes on my pizza, but again, you've got to already have pepperoni on it.
Jard said they're sick. No pineapple, bruh. Hey, we can disagree. It's
I'm
cool.
not a big pineapple guy. I'm not one of those people that says like it can't be on there. I just don't personally prefer it, but that's not a huge deal. Chorizo greater than pepperoni. I've never had chorizo on pizza. Salami's really good on pizza.
Salami's
if it's
great.
good salami.
Yeah,
it's got
has to be good salami.
It can't be garbage salami, but if it's like authentic Italian salami, that stuff's good. Chicken and spinach on Alfredo sauce. That's a popular combination. So yeah, that's a good conversation here. So I think we're all on the same page for the most part. Pepperoni is elite, and then there's some debate after that. Ooh, buffalo chicken is bomb. That's also a good call. Feta cheese. I'm a big feta cheese guy.
Love feta cheese.
So that's
Yeah.
more. Jeremy says the more feta, the better. That's good stuff. All right, what are we jumping into here? Some Lakers stuff. All right, let's get into the latest on the Lakers. It's been quite a season. He's Chase. I'm Harrison. Any given Thursday by Chat Sports. Let's get you caught up on the latest Lakers news and rumors. Great win for the purple and gold over the Jazz. Shout out LeBron James for going off. But it did not come without a cost. Anthony Davis injured yet again, Chase. Get us caught up on the latest.
This is really ugly. Going up for the ball and comes down and sprains his ankle in what looked like it could have been much more serious than it actually is. Suffered that nasty ankle sprain in the first half. Really unfortunate for him and Los Angeles because in that first quarter, he was straight up cooking Rudy Gobert. 15 points, looking like the vintage AD, the prime and healthy AD. But then he goes down with that ankle injury. Now, a lot to kind of talk about here. According to Dave McMenamin, he's going to be sidelined at least 2 weeks. Scheduled to get an MRI today on Thursday as we record this on, you guessed it, any given Thursday. Looking at that injury, and judging by the timeline of how long it's taken Anthony Davis to come back off of his respective injuries, he's been somewhat slow to recover. I don't know how he can be back in 2 weeks because those types of ankle sprains for basketball players, especially a big who's hovering in that 7 foot, maybe a little less range like Anthony Davis, it doesn't look good for him. And for Los Angeles, this spells disaster moving forward, in my opinion.
This feels like 4 to 6 weeks to me.
Yeah.
We'll see what the MRI shows. If there's ligament damage in there, that means it's a high ankle sprain. That's at least a month, especially for a big. And, it's unfortunate because that's a really nice win for the Lakers. You're thinking, maybe this gets us some momentum, but AD goes down. Look, he hasn't been the player he was the year they won the title, but you can't replace him. I mean, you're not replacing 23 and 10 on your roster. So, let's assume he's out for a month plus. We've bagged on the guy all year, Chase, but I think you need more out of Russell Westbrook, unfortunately, considering he's on your roster. He's got to step up. He's played a little bit better as of late. I do want to give him some credit. There's been chatter. Do you trade AD in the offseason? I'd love to know what his value is if he continues getting banged up. I don't think it's what it was when you traded for him a few years ago. So a lot of drama there. We'll see what happens on that front in the offseason. But in the short term, you hope he's back as soon as possible as the Lakers. I think, Chase, as we bring you back in here, just kind of float around hoping to get in that play-in and try to make a run because they're not going to sneak into a top 5 or 6 seed at this point.
No, yeah, they've been hovering around that 9 spot for quite a while. I do want to go back to that Anthony Davis trade question. You think about it in this way. LeBron James is 37 years old. He needs a legitimate co-star in order to chase a championship. And let's face it, while he was phenomenal against the Utah Jazz, he's been great as an MVP candidate this year. He's getting older. How long do his prime years last? And if the answer to that question is not that much longer, you got to maximize his prime while he's still here. So do you trade away Anthony Davis, who's been injury prone, who's been brittle, who's never played a full season throughout his NBA career, to get LeBron James a more available co-star? Let's just say that the Lakers can trade away Anthony Davis for Bradley Beal, who continues to be unhappy with the situation in our nation's capital with the Washington Wizards. He too, like Anthony Davis, injured right now, but for Beal, he's out for the remainder of the year, which I think helps him kind of shift his focus to the offseason in maybe asking for a trade. And if you're Washington, yes, AD is injury prone, but you'd be getting back a marquee, marketable superstar, and there wouldn't be too much of a drop-off in terms of the stats, in terms of star power. So if you're the Lakers, do you think about it? AD for Bradley Beal, while AD's value is so high, I would certainly explore it.
It's interesting. We'll ask you guys. I mean, I still would prefer a healthy AD with LeBron, but the injuries keep piling up. Would you trade AD this offseason? Type T for trade him, type K for keep him. Big couple of months for the Lakers. Get some shout-outs here as we continue to progress here on AGT. This thing's flying by, and I'm not complaining. White pizza from My Holy King. That's love. Talking Alfredo pizza. Yeah. Don't. Ironically, you did that, Jeremy. That's the ultimate irony. Trade Beal. We got 80 to OKC for Shea. Man, would you trade 80 straight up for Gilgeous-Alexander?
Ooh.
It shapes you for the future.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Shapes you for the future.
Sounds like that's a future video.
Yeah. Lakers rumors from YouTube. 80 for Jason Tatum. The Celtics laugh in your face. Seriously. There's no way they would do that. Yes, SGA. By the way, coming up here in about 10 minutes, your questions, hashtag NBA or Super Chat. But first, we're going to get you guys caught up on the latest around the Dallas Mavericks. But load up those questions. We got over 400 people watching live. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. We'll get to those questions in about 10 minutes. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you any given Thursday by Chat Sports. Let's get you caught up on the latest around the Dallas Mavericks. More buyout candidates to discuss. Want to focus on one here to start, though, Chase. That would be one Robin Lopez, who is a name that's kind of heating up around the buyout market. I know Mike Fisher mentioned him as a possibility for Dallas. And let's face it, after losing Kristaps Porzingis in the trade, like it or not, you lack rim protection. You lack some rebounding. Not that Lopez replaces that, but I think he certainly would help in that front.
Yeah, like you have a couple of athletic bigs on the Mavericks roster, and I really like the roster construction under Nico Harrison in year one. I think he has a nice little blend of talent. The emergence and the better play of Reggie Bullock has really helped this team. We'll see what Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans can bring to the table eventually. But when you look at the front court, you have athletic bigs, and then you have one big center in Boban Marjanovic, who really is a liability against some of the other athletic bigs out there.
He's
so
Luka's buddy.
Robin Lopez can give you that size, but give you more from an athletic standpoint than Boban Marjanovic. So I'd actually like it in that way.
I completely agree. I think it'd be a nice addition. I think he's in the rotation immediately if you go get him, assuming he does get bought out. And that's important. Sure, Maxi Kleber coming off one of the best games of his career, quite frankly, probably the best game of his season. Dwight Powell, those are two nice-ish pieces, but add Lopez to the mix because after those two guys, you just don't have a lot of proven front court depth. Lopez can come in here, play 15, 18 minutes a game. He can score around the basket. He can block, half a block a game, a block per game. Also, the underrated aspect of rim protection isn't necessarily blocks. It's altering shots. That's what all good shot blockers do. They make shots difficult in the paint, and that's something Robin Lopez has been good at for for a very, very long time. He knows who he is as a basketball player. What's interesting, and very limited shots, Chase, 40% from 3 this year. So
yes.
Maybe he can knock down
in less than an attempt per game, but
sure, hey,
if he can chuck it up a little bit like his brother.
Makes a 3 every other game. That's
stretching up the floor is valuable.
Little bonus as well. So we'll ask you, should the Mavs sign Robin Lopez? Type S for sign him, type P for pass. Let us know, and we'll break down some more NBA buyout candidates. All right. Humming right along here.
This is what you call efficiency.
Yeah. Watch the confetti pop, Scoots. Oh, okay. What TV show is criminally underrated? Criminally underrated. So, like, a show that people might know but is not, like, maybe doesn't get the love it deserves. Clearly,
man.
you have one in mind, Jeremy, producer Jeremy.
So, I love this show, and it's even criminally underrated by me at points because I went on watching it, then I wasn't watching it. Psych. I love that show. Yes, Tom's agreeing with me. Yes. Psych is a great TV show.
I don't know if it's criminally underrated, but I think it's been off the air. I'm not talking about we've moved on from Psych. We talk about the show in The Office a decent amount. I think it's been off the air long enough. I think Entourage, in the grand scheme of things, is
Entourage
pretty damn
is a
underrated,
good show.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, when people think of HBO, I don't think they think of Entourage that much. I think that's one of their top 5 shows ever.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's pretty damn good.
Look, Jack Lauderay still hasn't watched Breaking Bad. He might think it's somewhat overrated, but I think it's properly rated as one of the greatest shows ever.
It's still probably underrated because it's that good.
I have one. The Outsider on HBO.
I've seen that. That was
excellent.
good.
I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, haven't talked about it enough. You get a slight appearance from Jason Bateman, who, by the way, is he underrated as an actor?
Yes.
Petey, he's nodding his head yes. I
Very
think he
well-rounded.
Jason Bateman is phenomenal.
Ozark is elite.
Yeah, Ozark is
I don't know if you
next
put it in
level.
underrated because everyone knows about it. Trying to think of like these like underground shows that don't get a ton of love. You know what's a good one, and I need to catch up on it. It's called Snowfall on FX. It's about the LA drug scene in the 80s. It is phenomenal.
Okay.
Like
watched.
You and Marsh would like this show.
I just watched Catching Killers.
Ooh.
That show is almost like mind blowing.
Those are the shows I like. Like Make Me Think. And
Woman Across the Street from the Girl in the Window.
That's a mind you know what.
That show will mind fuck you.
Say what?
Isn't that it?
No, it's a longer one. What's the whole show name? The woman in the street.
The woman across the street from the girl in the window. Yeah. Don't cross me, bull.
By the way, we got a super chat. We're gonna save that for the mailbag. I'm looking into this cat right now.
Yeah.
So we will. I know, exactly. See, you're picking up what I'm putting down. All right, hashtag NBA or super chat. We're going to get to your questions here on the show. So load them up for producer Chugs to get to. We'll answer your questions for a few minutes. Then we'll talk about a couple more teams and get on out of here. So hashtag NBA or you can super chat. It's mailbag time here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. Any given Thursday, rolling with you, Harrison and Chase. Get your questions in. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Ask about the All-Star break, whatever. Second half, playoffs, offseason, trade ideas. We'll answer it all. Just get those questions in. And we're going to start with the Super Chat from Mr. Stegosaurus, a draft question. All right. Why is nobody talking about Oscar Tshiebwe from Kentucky? Dude is a double-double machine, and besides refining his offense, he's a good enough defender, and what a sleeper trait could happen. What sleeper trade could happen this offseason? Before we get to the trade sleeper thing, West Virginia transfer Chase to Kentucky this year. He's averaging 16 points, 15 rebounds, shooting 59% from the floor, 71% from the free throw line, and he is shooting, let's see, he doesn't shoot 3, so he's a true big here, 6'9", 260. That's like a frame of a Pistons guy. Isaiah
Wallace?
Stewart.
Oh, Isaiah Stewart.
Where
Okay.
he's not a true 7-footer.
I thought you were going throwback.
Not a true 7-footer is a modern big, but just a guy who flat out scores and rebounds.
Yeah, so the problem with him, he's still really raw.
And
he's from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is where Jonathan Kuminga came to America from. So you compare the rawness with the fact that You know, Kuminga was a little bit raw, but a little bit more well-rounded and gifted. Also, Oscar is 6'9", so he's a little undersized for a guy who doesn't space the floor or shoot any threes. I watched him the other night in that loss against Tennessee. Because of that rawness, so to speak, sometimes he just gets lost on the floor. Yeah. And you can watch him and see that he just is kind of confused with the moving parts on the basketball floor. Now, over time, good enough athlete to be a good rebounder, to finish around the rim, but he doesn't shoot, a little bit undersized, and he's still somewhat inexperienced. That's why people are sleeping on him. As for a sleeper trade that could happen after the year, how about Anthony Davis for Bradley Beal?
Ooh, I'm in.
Anthony Davis for Bradley Beal.
Let's do it. Chow Lore, #NBA. Who can help the Warriors win the Western Conference Championship against the Suns? How about just getting Draymond and Wiseman healthy?
That'd be nice.
I think that closes the gap at least. Now, I don't know if Phoenix gets beat in 7 games this year, but I think if they're fully healthy, they're the best chance that someone does beat.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't said this yet on Golden State Warriors today, but you didn't make a move at the NBA trade deadline. Maybe they'll be silent on the NBA buyout market, but how about 2 additions in Draymond Green and James Wiseman, who are better than any buyout candidate out there?
Yep.
Draymond is still a top-level defender, all-star this year, one of the best defenders in the league. James Wiseman is an uber-athletic big who can basically do anything on the floor. He's so gifted if that knee holds up coming off that torn meniscus that he suffered in April. So you get those 2 guys back. That helps you match up better against Phoenix because they've certainly struggled against DeAndre Ayton.
Shout out your favorite team. Let us know who you guys are repping in the NBA this year. Who is your favorite team? Chase is a Sixers fan. I'm a Mavs fan. Let us know who your favorite team is as we continue to answer your questions. Jao Ferreira, is Gary Harris a good fit for the Bulls, or is it better to get another big man? I think Gary Harris, Chase, is just one of those 3-and-D guys that can fit anywhere. I don't think he would be a bad fit on any roster.
Yeah, and he can also play make a little bit by putting the ball on the hardwood. They did, according to Rick Carlisle, I guess NBA newsbreaker now, sign Tristan Thompson after he was bought out by the Indiana Pacers. So that gives you another big. For Chicago, I'm concerned about them in the front court if they meet the Philadelphia 76ers at any point in the NBA playoffs, because Embiid has just torched Vucevic anytime he's gone up against him.
Yeah, and how much of a concern is this Levine lingering knee thing?
Lonzo's still hurt.
He's been playing
Caruso getting back on the floor soon.
Yeah, hey, as long as DeRozan keeps balling, they'll have a chance. L2 Cloud, top 3 MVP. Well, I just mentioned one of them. I'll go Embiid 1, DeRozan 2, and Jokic 3. Right.
Yeah, those 3 are in the mix. I think you have to, and we'd be remiss if we don't mention Ja Morant. If you take Ja Morant away from the Memphis Grizzlies, they're probably still a pretty solid team because Tyus Jones is a good backup point guard. But Ja Morant has emerged almost this year as a top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah, if he's 4, maybe Steph hasn't shot it as well this year. Maybe he's 5. Is Chris Paul in the mix?
Has to be.
How much they're winning. But I think those top 3 with Morant as a number 4 is kind of where we're at right now. Thad Young, what's up? Which all-star do you think the Blazers should pair with Dame? This is a good question. What they need is someone who's like Paul George, Chase, a secondary scorer that's also an elite defender, because they've had a good secondary scorer for years in McCollum, but he just didn't defend it all. And Dame doesn't defend. Jeremy Chugg is saying Kawhi, he's not going anywhere. Neither is Paul George, which is why
a player like that,
that type of player, like someone who can defend and be a number 2 scorer, and quite frankly be fine with being your number 2 scorer.
Let me tell you this. I don't think this is going to be Dame's co-star, but what Anthony Simons has done this year,
he's improved a lot.
The work that he's put into his game is really impressive. He has been on a heater the last several weeks, and he's really on his way to having a very good season. Now, he can be the backcourt, tandem along with Dame, and then you get a wing, which makes you a very, very good team. But Anthony Simons has been great this year. He's really going to be a franchise building block for Portland.
I remember he dropped like 38 on the last day of the season like 3 years ago in an irrelevant game where they were resting their stars, and I was like, who the hell is
Only
this?
22.
And just year in and year out since then, he's gotten a little bit better. And then this year, he's been fantastic.
Trading away Gary Trent Jr. and then Norman Powell has really helped elevate his game.
Sure, that part of it does help. You know what's also sweet? These hoodies. Chatsports.com/NBA hoodie. All 30 teams being represented. You can go check out different style hoodies as well. I love the player team combo ones here. This Ja Morant one. You got the team logo on the front, the player name, and the number on the back. Sweet look there. Different style hoodies. Yeah, you know, LaMelo Ball, he's wet from 3. He's not getting wet in this jacket because it's waterproof. Chatsports.com/NBA hoodie. Check that link in the comments and in the description of this video. We'll answer a few more questions. Evan Hinder, I think Kevin Knox under Billy Donovan's system, he might be Austin Rivers 2.0. I don't know what you really mean by that because they don't play the same position, but maybe you're saying like a revitalization? Is that what he's going for there?
I think Austin Rivers, he's a better scorer. I think he's a little bit more of a spark plug as an athlete than Kevin Knox. He's not cracking the rotation in Atlanta. He couldn't do the same with New York. I think in New York, a lot of that was because he couldn't play defense, and we know Thibs is a boomer and really values that more so than offense. But
man.
Yeah, he needs to play in the G League a little bit. I liked him the first year and in the NBA Summer League.
Yeah.
Since then, he hasn't done much.
Nope. Mr. Clean, 999, who could the Cavs get for Colin Sexton?
A solid player.
Yeah, I do think someone asked a surprise trade this offseason. I don't even know if it would be a surprise to move on from Sexton this offseason, right? I mean, with Garland and you've got Karis LeVert now, you don't need Sexton.
No, the rumblings before the year was that Darius Garland, without Colin Sexton, in the minutes without him, was a much better player. Yeah. We've seen that come to the surface this year. Darius Garland is an all-star player and a franchise building block, so that's made Colin Sexton somewhat expendable. They also never signed him to a contract extension. He was eligible for it. They elected not to sign him to that deal, an indication that they didn't really like him moving forward as part of that franchise. New York Knicks, if they have to settle for a middle tier, a 1B type level point guard, I like them going there.
Well, just keep Garland, unlike the Kings keeping out Halliburton. Don't make that mistake.
He's been ripping it up with Indiana.
Yeah, he's going to light it up with the Pacers. Nick says, will Zion be in New York City next year? Dude,
is he going to be on the floor next year?
Yeah, I mean.
Let's solve that first.
He's got to get healthy first. Look, if you get what he was last year, I think he's a top 10 player in this league. But we've only seen him be fully healthy for 1 year, so that's a bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
All right, last one here from Tom Downey's burner. Who was the biggest All-Star snub not named Jared Allen? That's a good one.
Well, he ended up getting in.
Yeah, as an alternate.
Because of injury.
Gosh. I don't know.
Tyler Hero.
Okay.
Tyler Hero's had a really good year.
All right.
So I'd say him.
I'll defer to you on that one.
Yeah.
There you go, Tyler Hero. Who will win the NBA title this year? We'll end this mailbag on this question. Let us know who's going to win it all in this summer once we get to the playoffs, which, hey, isn't that far away. Let us know who's going to be the champs. All right, we'll get some shout-outs here and then a couple more segments to go. Someone says Pascal Siakam is a surprise trade. Oh, here we go. Who's your celeb crush?
Ooh.
Jeremy, kick us off here since you made this question.
Okay.
I'd say Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
She ages like fine wine.
Oh, her and J-Lo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anna Kendrick from C4C. What about you, Jeremy?
Honestly, slept on. I hadn't thought of her in years, and I saw a video of her go across my Twitter timeline the other day. Megan Fox still has it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She still has it? She's been having it.
She's been having
it. Who's she engaged to now?
MGK, Machine Gun Kelly.
Didn't they, I don't mean to get graphic here, but didn't they, when they got engaged, suck each other's blood or something? I swear I'm not making this
Weird
up.
flex.
It's one of those weird things. Jennifer Aniston, definitely a good one.
Megan Good, Eva Longoria, Brie Larson.
Oh, what about...
I got a sleeper for you, Chase. Brooklyn Decker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andy Roddick's wife.
Paige Sporadic, the golfer. The real ones know.
She's not my cup of tea, but
Paige Sporadic.
But she's pretty. She'd
be fun to golf with.
Front.
Hey, we're a show of the people too, you know. I mean, if it was a guy for me, Idris Elba.
Well, he's just a G in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not trying to discriminate against anybody in the chat.
No, of course not.
Tom Downey burner account. Megan Fox has weird thumbs.
No,
do I.
No,
look at these things.
No, you've never heard that.
I can bend them all the way back.
She has toe thumbs.
Does
like
she
a real thing.
really?
Her thumbs look like a big toe. Yeah. Some people have that. Yeah.
Hey, girl, what them thumbs do?
Read
Looks
some of
like my search history will be Megan Fox thumbs.
someone says Brittany Mahomes. I don't know if that's a joke or not. First of all, she's not Mahomes yet. They're not married.
Oh, interesting.
Serena Williams.
Harrison getting defensive over here.
They're not married. Hey, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Dylan Harper.
You hungry, by the way?
Say what?
You hungry?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I'd be starving if I were you.
Yeah, definitely getting there, but we're good. Yeah, it's a bloodbath.
My chicken sandwich, wet.
Eva Longoria, back in the day, she was. I haven't seen her in years. I don't know what she's up to. What was that show she was on forever? Maybe, I don't even know. I feel like she's been off the grid for about a decade. Drew Barrymore, is she still kicking?
She has her own show.
All right. Someone says, "LOL, this channel just went left." How? We're just talking celebs.
Maybe he meant off the rails, and if that's the case, when we're talking about Megan Fox's thumbs, I agree.
Yeah, and sucking blood. So, all right, 2 more segments here, then we'll turn back right here, I promise. All right,
that's why you subscribe, man.
Here we go. Let's talk about the New York Knicks here on Any Given Thursday by Chat Sports. Nah, we're rolling with it. We're going to keep this cut going. He's
my
Chase, I'm
goodness.
Harrison. Our producer just whispered something in our ear, and it's
You gotta restart
it's
that
absolutely.
cut.
Are we
man.
restarting?
Yeah, you gotta
We're not
restart the
rolling with
cut.
that? Oh my God, dude. That is a bloodbath. It's been one of those days.
Man.
All right, we'll try again. You ready? Any Given Thursday by Chat Sports, Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. Let's get you guys caught up on the latest around the New York Knicks and kind of look back a little bit, Chase. Trade deadline obviously in the books for a while now. Sounds like they almost traded for Goran Dragic. We'll explore the buyout market, which includes Dragic here in a few moments. But is this a mistake to not go land a guy like Goran Dragic at the trade deadline?
It is, because they desperately need a point guard, and if you've watched the New York Knicks over the last couple of weeks, it has not been pretty. They have been going very quickly, very swiftly down a black diamond, and they're an amateur skier who doesn't know how to stop. It's been really ugly offensively. A couple of losses in which they've blown 20-plus point leads at MSG to lose a 28-point advantage to the Brooklyn Nets when Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons aren't playing, a straight-up disgrace. And late in games, they seem to get so tight offensively, and they just need a calming presence at the point guard position. Well, they almost pulled the trigger on Goran Dragic, and I think he would have been able to bring those attributes to the floor and calm things down offensively while giving you playoff experience, giving you leadership experience, and a guy who can also stretch the three and be reliable from beyond the arc. So this trade almost happened, according to Shams Charania, where the Knicks would have gotten Goran Dragic from the Toronto Raptors, a future second-round pick via Los Angeles. The Lakers would have received Cam Reddish, Alec Burks, Kem Birch, and the Raptors, interestingly enough, would have gotten Talen Horton-Tucker. I think the Knicks would have been the big winners in this trade. Cam Reddish isn't even playing because he's in Tom Thibodeau's doghouse, so that really confuses me and confounds me as well.
If the Knicks were the team that derailed this trade, which not sure what happened on that front, what would they really lose? Alec Burks? I mean, he's in his 30s. You don't need Alec Burks long term. Cam Reddish, I like him, but they don't, apparently, especially as long as Thibs is the head coach. I mean, this would have been a great trade for the Knicks, in my opinion.
Yeah, because look, as I talked about, like, you just watch the games, right? And you're like, man, what are they missing right now? Kemba Walker has just lost it athletically. I love Emmanuel quickly, but he's really streaky as a player. That consistent, calming demeanor of a presence at the point guard spot to just really relax the offense is really what the Knicks need, and it sets up everybody else nicely. R.J. Barrett, once he comes back off of injury, Julius Randle's game, I think, is able to expand. You run a little two-man game between Dragic and Mitchell Robinson. I like that component. Obi Toppin throwing down some alley-oops. They just don't have that guy right now, and really, they've missed Derrick Rose a lot this year, too.
And I'll tell you what, man, when the glue falls apart, when Derrick Rose goes down,
that ain't good.
You got problems,
Nope.
man. That's just not a good thing. So, unfortunate this trade didn't go down, but it did not. Would you have made this trade? We'll ask you Knicks fans out there on this one. Type T for trade or P for pass. We don't need Goran Dragic. We're humming right now, which is obviously sarcasm from me. T for trade, P for pass, and coming up, we'll break it down some of those NBA buyout candidates. All right, what do you guys think about this trade? Let's see. P for pass from C4C. Hard pass from Downey's burner. Give up a 28-point lead. Go Brooklyn. That was bad, man.
Yeah.
And our guy Marshall Green saw it happen in real time. I saw him live tweeting. 28, down to 19, down to 13, down to 8.
Cam Thomas just going in.
Cam Thomas. It was Dragic and a second to the Knicks.
Cam Reddish, Alec Burks,
and
Kem Birch to the Lakers,
and then THT
Talon Horton-Tucker to the Raptors.
I like Burks, but they're not playing Reddish, so what's the point?
16 and 7 a night.
The only way you would do this is if you extend Dragic for a year, though, because it's a rental. Think they would have cut who? Why would you make this trade and cut him? Oh, come on.
You need a point guard, man. You know that.
Wow.
For a year, though? Yeah.
Marsh and Shambles.
You know it's never good when the season derails when D. Rose goes out.
That's a tough one. All right, best superhero. I'm not a huge superhero movie guy in general.
Me
I'll
either,
be honest.
but it's Batman.
But it's Batman. Gosh, I don't even know. It's Batman or Spider-Man, I'd say. Those are the top two. Where's our film critic? Let's get him in here. All right, we got film critic Jack in here. He's going to get on the mic. Who's the best superhero? He's our resident film and cinema breakdown guy.
It's Iron Man.
Iron Man. Wow.
Iron Man.
Didn't see that one.
All right.
Some elite
Jack, a big
breakdown.
Marvel guy.
Uncle Drew. That's pretty good.
Play Deuce McBride from Billy Goat. I agree.
Kenton James. Hulk. Tyler. Who's Tyler? Good one. Green Lantern. Anderson Cooper. What are these answers we're getting? We're officially off the rails at this point. Jeremy, let's get to this last cut. Let's get this cut so I can go eat. I gotta self-body myself at this point.
Celtics
All right,
next.
one more cut to go here on AGT. Let's get into the latest Boston Celtics rumors here on Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. Celtics dropped one to the Pistons the other night, but red hot as of late, Chase. Winners of 9 of 10. Let's get you caught up on Marcus Smart and his injury status, and then we'll take a look at the buyout market a little bit here. Had that sprained ankle and that just drubbing of the Sixers the other night. Didn't play in the final game before the break, but doesn't sound like it's going to be too severe.
Yeah, that coming from Ime Udoka prior to that game against the Pistons on Wednesday, that they don't think it's anything serious. Luckily for Marcus Smart, it's going to be an ankle sprain. So reevaluated after the All-Star break. Typically these things, if they're not too severe, do last a couple of weeks, especially in basketball where you have to cut and you have to be spry on those feet. But it looked really, really ugly at the time. On that drive against Joel Embiid, went to plant his foot. Then he really turned his ankle badly, almost like Anthony Davis did for Los Angeles, was able to go to the free throw line and take those free throws, but then exited the game, needed some help getting off the floor. He's really, on this roster, the only point guard option. So if you're without him, that would not be good for Boston.
Just kind of shows you how ridiculous these athletes are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's next level. Robert Williams also banged up, sprained ankle, sprained calf in that game against Philadelphia. Coming at a good time, though. All-Star break, these teams got about 7 to 10 days off, so rest up, and hopefully these guys are ready to go after the break. Boston certainly playing some good basketball, 9 out of 10, I believe, right?
9 of 11.
9 of 11 over their last 11 games, playing some good basketball at the right time, as after the All-Star break, about a third of the season left before the playoffs get here. And let's face it, Chase, the Eastern Conference, it's up for the taking.
Yeah, I guess you weren't wrong in saying 9 of 10, but also I'm not wrong by saying 9 of 11. Just depends on which way you slice it up and look at it. But yeah, they won 9 games in a row, and the last win in that winning streak against Philadelphia, impressive. I mean, they shot 55% from 3 on the road against a Sixers team that was coming off the excitement of trading for James Harden. James Harden rang the bell prior to that game to get the fans all juiced up. But I think you're looking at a Boston team that can be true title contenders. And we've kind of always said this about Boston, like they have that high-level ability to really make a deep playoff run. Why is that? Two of the top wings in the NBA who can play defense and be really, really unstoppable offensively in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And during this winning streak, they were awesome. And if you have those two guys in a playoff series, let's say you look at the top 10 players in a playoff series, they might be the top 2 in a lot of series in which they play.
And you know who's played a lot better is Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been shooting the ball better. Robert Williams has been a nice piece this year. I was a little reluctant at that contract. He's played pretty well for Boston. So all of a sudden you look at this, you're like, this team, this conference is kind of open. Maybe this team could make a run in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Can they win the East, though? We'll see. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Get your votes in on this one. I think the East is wide open. Maybe adding someone on the buyout market could help them do just that. All right, we'll get this off here on any given Thursday. Let's do one more sub push to main before we call it a day here, Jeremy. Go Nets in the chat. No from C4C. Nick says no. Hell no from my holy king. Henry Young saying no. Celtics playing good. From King, yeah, no doubt about that. Boston not title contenders lose to the Pistons. Guys, good teams lose to bad teams all the time. It's an 82-game season. Like that's just how this goes. Heat in 5 from Michael. Let's see. What's something new about the Warriors from Terrence? Well, if you're just tuning in, Terrence, we've got a fresh Warriors video up on the channel. Just went up a couple of minutes ago. So go check that out, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. All right, one more debate. Does ketchup belong on a hot dog? I say no, but I'm also just not a big ketchup guy.
If it's a bad hot dog, then yes.
See,
you got to drown out that bad meat with some sauce.
I like sprinkling some shredded cheese on there and melting it a bit. Little shredded cheese dog.
Yeah, no, that's good. A little chili cheese dog is good as well.
Big yes.
No, ketchup is nasty. Ketchup and mustard. See, I've never understood that, the mixture of the condiments. Ketchup and mustard. That doesn't make sense to me. But, hey, that's what you guys are saying. We're going to kill this thing here, sign things off, and now he's dead. No, we don't need to loop, right? We good?
Nah, I think we're good.
We're going to put out buyout candidates. So, all right, appreciate you guys tuning in. You see the subscribe link below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. He's Chase. I'm Harrison. Jeremy over there for producing. Shout out to him. And, hey, enjoy NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll see you soon here on Chat Sports.
Keep your